Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Judge's Decision podcast. We're back because we haven't finished this series yet, but we're going to finish this series, okay?
Somehow.
Yeah.
It's been going for months.
It's fair to say that things have been against us, really, Anderson. Also, welcome, Anderson.
Yay! Welcome back, me again. I mean, it would be a bit weird if I wasn't on this, but, you know.
It would be incredibly dull. It would just be
It
me
wouldn't be.
talking.
Yeah, unfortunately, like you said, we've had a lot of problems. Both of our computers basically crapped themselves inside out. Christmas was a thing, apparently. World War III broke out. The coronavirus has killed half the world. Yeah, it's not been great.
And Brexit is next week. Oh, no, it's not. It's tomorrow.
Is it really?
What day is it today?
Yeah, it's the 31st tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, Brexit tomorrow.
Bloody hell, it's actually happening. Nearly 4 years later.
It's all going too fast. Slow down, world.
What's the news going to talk about? I can't believe it. Wow. Yeah, all I've heard the last 3.5 years is the word Brexit. Oh wow, I can't actually wait to not hear that word anymore.
You'll still hear it because there'll be people complaining about it and saying, "Oh, this is because of Brexit," and all, yeah, you know.
Yes.
I don't watch the news anymore.
Yeah, ironic.
Yeah, I just make it.
Yes. No, I'm not political at all, so I don't actually give a toss.
No,
I'd rather have fun and live a life than be a bitter, miserable twat on the internet. You will need a bleep there. Sorry about that.
Nah, it's okay. It doesn't matter. You've said worse on this channel. It's okay.
Oh, yeah. Remember that time when I said with a rocket launcher?
Anderson, you can't say that.
Oh, well, I just did. Anyway,
good. Right. We're putting off this because, God, this is horrible. So, I've explained it before, I'm going to explain it again. This show was not thought up by me, and it wasn't thought up by Anderson. I
don't think of anything. No. I just chav onto people's channels.
So, for those that don't know, I'm a teacher at a school, and strange place for a teacher, I know, right?
I thought it was at the local taxi rank.
And so a pupil came up with this concept where one day he just started listing robots and saying, what if they fought? And I went, okay, this could go somewhere. Do you mind if I steal this? So I did ask for permission. He said yes, so long as he got to do a heat of it. And by do a heat of it, obviously safeguarding is a thing. It means he can't appear on the channel because I'm a teacher and he's a pupil, you know, boundaries and whatnot. However, he has pitched the 6 robots that are competing in today's heat.
And he's evil.
He is. I think he wants us to have an aneurysm of some sort.
I mean, if there's ever a heat that literally says heat of death, this is it. This is mental.
It's heat E for... I don't know. What?
Extreme,
maybe. I can't think. Never mind.
Yeah.
Oh, Ebola. That's the one. Okay. So, never remember when that was a thing. Oh, last decade. Okay, Anderson, are we ready?
Yes.
In Melee 1, we have the following robots. Spectre from King of Bots 2019, you know, that thing that was a champion at one point.
Yep.
Aftershock from Extreme Robots 2019, you know, that thing that was a UK champion at one point.
Yep.
And Hypershock, you know.
UK champion anyway, yeah.
Well, yeah, there is, yeah, Extreme Robots champion, that's fair. And Hypershock from BattleBots 2019, you know, that thing that can get across the battle box in like 2 seconds.
Oh, yeah, that one, yeah. This pupil is evil.
Yeah. Anderson, who should we have in the arena? Because we need to agree on things now.
Throw Shunt in there, why not?
Well, let's have Shunt. Okay, so 2 champions in their own right, and a robot that is faster than the speed of sound.
And to be fair, could easily be a champion. I mean,
yeah.
It's a champion-worthy robot. It's just been unlucky.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Right, first thing that immediately sprung to mind when this draw happened, because I drew these at random, yeah, so Spectre is notoriously challenged by vertical spinners. If you haven't seen the King of Bots 2019 opening round, it absolutely died to 2 barbecue. If you haven't seen King of Bots 2, Anderson, do you care about spoilers at this point?
Nope, couldn't get that.
Fair enough, because Anderson is currently watching King of Bots. So in Series 2, a robot called Rhino that goes on to become... no, what does it come? Bullseye, that's it, in Extreme Robots. So Rhino absolutely yeets it, and that's sort of like a Witch Doctor thing, built by a UK builder. It's a really nice robot. I really like it, and it may well appear next series.
A UK robot doing well in China? Well, I never.
I know, right? Yeah, so Spectre doesn't really like verts. Even Quantum in BattleBots fought Lockjaw, lost. For Death Roll, lost. The team just hate verts.
Yeah, and it's up against 2 very beefy ones here.
It is.
Looking at this one as well, Aftershock hasn't exactly had the best of luck against Verts, has it? I mean, when you think about it, it got beaten by Bite Force, it got beaten by Huge, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to remember who else it lost to. Actually, it's lost to quite a few Verts have triumphed over Hypershock.
Yes.
It just seems to struggle a little bit with the reach. It doesn't quite have as much reach as some other big spinners. Meanwhile, Aftershock, as we know from its appearances in Robot Wars and of course on the live circuit over here in the UK, that spinner is mental, and it has hit a lot of things, and it's got very good reach. Yeah. So, I actually, to be honest, looking at this one, I'd say that they're probably the most favourite to win. It's more who goes out first out of the other 2. I don't know about you. I don't know if you agree with that, but
well, actually, I thought that Spectre would have quite a good chance. Aftershock has some very exposed sort of side areas, and if there's 2 robots in the arena rather than 1, their focus is going to be shifting. Hypershock, I think, would probably try and get all over them. I don't know. It's a tricky one, this.
It is actually quite a tricky one. See, now you said that, now it's throwing a spanner in the bloody works, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's going to sound really horrible, but I hate you people.
Yeah.
He's evil.
He is. Right, okay, I think... Can we agree on the weakest of these 3?
Go on.
I would pitch that Hypershock is probably, though the quickest, is... If we're going by our rules of this is a machine that has... It's the BattleBots 2019 version, so we go with what happened in that as we are using that for reference. So it struggles upside down. Still, it's fast, but tends to go in unnecessarily and not hold back as much as it probably should.
Yep, it's got exposed wheels.
It does have very exposed wheels, and with another beefy vert in the arena and a big crusher. Now, the wheels are actually made of foam. They do look inflated, they're not.
Yeah, which is always pretty cool. I think that's a really cool design.
It's just gorgeous, isn't it?
It is, it's beautiful. Also, the high ground clearance means Spectre could easily exploit it and crumple down on it. So
yeah, I think Hypershock is probably the weakest of the
bunch. So it's between the other 2. So we're going to say Hypershock comes 3rd.
Yeah.
That's a fair shout. And being honest, when it comes down to it, the one I see happening more... I mean, the way I look at it is Spectre's teeth like to get taken off by verts. I mean, Thunder and Lightning took them off for crying out loud. Although, that was the previous King of Bots. But, it happened a lot.
The teeth are still removable.
Yeah, the teeth are still very removable. And judging by Spectre's luck with verts in the past, I can't really see it getting past Aftershock personally. I don't know about you, but that's just me.
See, the difference with these 2 machines is that Aftershock is a shed build, whereas Spectre is a machine shop built by the people that built the house robots.
Yes.
So I think that you're looking at more reliability from Spectre than Aftershock. But that said, I don't know. It's very tough between these 2. I don't see it going to the judges even, though. I think one of these 2 would get a knockout. It's just
Yeah.
which one.
If Spectre's going to get a knockout, it'll have to be via pitting, but that means it has to hope that the Doom dial actually goes in its favour.
Yeah.
So that's put a bit of a blunter
or
on
if
there.
it sets fire to Aftershock. We saw it at Extreme Robots. Magnetar managed to set fire to Aftershock.
True. See, Aftershock's also one of these robots that literally it spins up very quickly and just gets in there and gets those hits in really quick.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think it might be a bit quicker than Spectre's Crusher. I'm genuinely going Aftershock for this one. That's my personal thing. I see Aftershock winning this one more than Spectre. But
yeah, I think you're right in saying that the teeth would come out, and at that point, Spectre, though it can still work, it doesn't have as much chance of causing a KO. Whereas Aftershock, if it gets round and gets some wheels and possibly the Shreemech or something, I don't know. But we know that Spectre does not do well against Verts.
No.
So I think I'm also going to lean towards Aftershock.
Yep. Okay, so we're going to agree Hypershock comes third, Spectre comes second, Aftershock comes first.
Yeah.
Yay! So there we are. Right, so Melee 2.
Yeah.
Right, I'm hosting this one, aren't I?
You are.
So, oh, jeez Louise.
Hang on a minute.
What?
I need to edit the picture.
Why do you need to edit the picture?
Can you see the floor with the Melee 2 picture I sent you?
Oh, yes, yeah, yeah. That's Oh, come on, let me sell them.
Tell them.
He's got a picture of Terrorhurtz with suspension Kingbots 2018 on it. Well done, Jevon. Well done, mate.
Do you know the worst thing?
Go on.
I've got a Word document open in front of me, and I've written suspension in this heat as well.
Oh, my lord. It's a good thing you don't get paid for this, isn't it?
What a pillock. Right. Sorry.
Right. So, in this one, Jevon... Oh dear, we have not suspension, but we have Terrorhurtz from Robot Wars Series 10. We have Minotaur from BattleBots 2018. And we have Bite Force from BattleBots 2018. You know that robot that's won 3 BattleBots championships now?
And that Minotaur robot that got all the way through to the grand final of BattleBots 2018.
Yeah, and wholeheartedly deserved to get into the top 16 last time around. And your favourite robot as well, now I think about it. And it was also robbed against Death Roll, just saying.
Calm down, Porky Pig.
Oh!
Yeah.
All right, Tweedledee. Shut up.
What? How dare you?
Mate, you look like Groot. I'm just going to say that now.
Sure. Did you say Gru or Groot?
Groot.
Not tree.
I
know I'm branching out into other things, but you know.
Oh, for crying out! Leave it out. Leave it out. Oh. Anyway.
Puns, I've got them.
Yes, Jevon. What house robot are we going to have in this battle?
Seeing as you put Shunt in the last one, should we have Dead Metal in this one?
Oh, why not? It is the best house as well, after all.
Okay.
Right, so who do we think's going to win?
There's an obvious choice, I think.
Oh yeah, to be fair, it's just to me. Honestly, it's just who's going to die first out of the other two. I think we can safely say Bite Force is winning this one.
No, I was going for Terrorhurtz.
Really?
No, of course not.
Crying out! I mean, to be fair, I do think Terrorhurtz has more of a Terrorhurst. I think Terrorhurtz has more of a chance than Minotaur because of the axe, and we saw what Chomp did. So you know, it could do that.
Did this version of Bite Force have a covered weapon belt? I think they did.
Yes,
didn't
more than likely, yes. So, like I said, it was only a small fraction. All right, shake your head. Also, we have seen that. You know, vertical disc meeting the front of Terrorhurtz sends it flying about 500 feet in the air. So that pretty much rules that one out.
And also, Minotaur is basically the good version of Sabretooth.
Yes.
So, if Sabretooth could get round the back of Terrorhurtz and cause them maximum peril, then Minotaur will have no issue.
Yeah, so I think we can both agree that Terrorhurtz is coming third in this one.
Yeah, just a bit.
Just a bit, which is a shame because it is a good robot. Overrated, but it is a good robot.
I know one very unhappy Sam who's going to be upset with you.
Yeah, oh mate, don't. We had literally like a 3 hour long debate about it. It was bloody hilarious. Um, and then yeah, I mean, Minotaur versus Bite Force, it's happened. And
Yeah.
let's be honest,
Now,
it wasn't exactly a close fight, was it?
it wasn't, but well,
Yeah.
it didn't it go 3 minutes?
No.
Oh, uh, the
Minotaur lost via KO. Got
the
given sausage.
only thing that might work in Minotaur's favour, possibly, is that we're in the Robot Wars arena.
Ah, the pit is a thing,
It
and
is,
the heads are a thing,
and the flipper.
and the floor flipper. Ah, yes. If Bite Force was to get caught by that, they would be running upside down and therefore wouldn't be as effective. But that's a very that's less down to skill and more down to luck, I think, personally. But it is a possibility. We saw it happen quite a lot in King of Bots as well. Like
Hmm.
the amount of robots that just drove over the floor flipper and died.
Can you really call what's in King of Bots a floor flipper?
No, it doesn't flick very well. It doesn't flip them. It just sort of rolls them over.
Unless you're crossfire, in which case it causes you maximum problems in the shortest space of time to what is basically the grubs.
It causes you to just combust.
Yeah.
That's literally what it does. I mean, hmm. What do you think? Well, like, out of these two, what do you
I
think?
I think I can see a world where either the pit is opened or Bite Force makes a driving mistake and ends up being flipped on the floor flipper, then somehow drives onto the grate for the fire and gets stuck.
Yes.
But uh, it's just whether Bite Force would cause a KO before then.
Plus, that is a lot of technicalities.
Yeah.
A
Would
lot of technicalities, actually, now I think about it. I mean, you're essentially looking for three things to go wrong there in
Yeah.
one. So,
No, Bite Force.
yeah. I mean, to be fair, yeah. I mean, like I said, there's always that possibility. Yeah, fine. I'm happy to accept that. But realistically and statistically, I think it just goes more in Bite Force's favour.
I don't think we've yet seen Bite Force driving upside down, have we?
No.
So
You
there's
get
nothing really to go off of here.
Yeah. And we're not saying that Bite Force is unbeatable, because no robot's unbeatable.
No, well, Huge
Um,
came very close last year
yeah.
to beating that. It's just a shame they had previous issues from Ice Wave of,
I mean, I still
falling in half.
I still personally think that what is it? Flipping out. I still personally think Yeti should have beat it, but that's just me. I think that Bite Force is dead on one side, as far as I'm concerned. They should have been counted out, but that's just me.
Well, the crab walking rule only applies if you're not a champion.
Yeah, yeah. So, but we're going for Bite Force then, yeah.
Did you, just before we carry on, did you know that in that fight they had to unstick Bite Force and Yeti twice?
Did they really?
Yeah,
Wow, I did not know that.
because they got fully stuck with the forks into those sort of exposed areas.
Yeah. See, again, I'd say that ruled more in favour of Yeti, to be honest, because it shows that their weapon's actually gone right in and done some potential damage, you know?
Ah, but it's not the primary weapon, is it?
Oh, no, of course. Whatever. Such a stupid rule. You got
Yeah.
two weapons. It doesn't matter which one's your first one and which one's your second one. You got two bloody weapons.
I've
It's
been
like,
enjoying reading through the BattleBots judging criteria. It is odd in
dumb.
places. There are some bits that are clear that it is there to catch you out.
Is it so hard just to rate? I think personally, one criteria should not matter more than the other. That's just me personally, because it's just not fair otherwise.
No.
Of course, a robot with a massive spinner is going to do better than a robot with a flipper because it does more damage. That's just the rule. That's simple. That's not fair. A robot can do all the work, but because it gets 3 hits from a spinner, it loses because of the damage points. You know, it's just so stupid. Anyway, rant over.
So Bite Force are going through.
Bite Force go through first, and then we're going to say Minotaur second and Terrorhurtz third. Yes.
Yes.
Right. So there we go. That's that. So Bite Force go through, and now we got the redemption round.
Yes. And in the first redemption round, because of course third place from the first fight goes into this, and second place from the second fight goes into this. So we have here Hypershock against Minotaur.
Ooh.
which
Now.
that's going to be a tough one. Shall we pick a house robot each?
Yeah, I think we should pick a house robot each. I'm going with Matilda.
Oh, cool. I'm going to go with Dead Metal again.
Oh, Jevon picking more than what? Oh, God! I need to sit down after that one.
Hey, new
He
year,
says,
new
"Where is
me.
that now?" Yeah. Oh, good lord! This is a tough one as well because I don't quite me if I'm wrong, but we've never seen these two fight, have we?
I have Hypershock's entire fight record up in front of me because I thought it would be helpful. No, they have never fought.
Okay, one, that would be a sick fight.
It really
And
would.
two, that's not helpful. Oh,
I
flip.
suppose it gives us a clean slate, doesn't it?
It does. It does. See, it could go one of two ways for me. The problem is this is the issue. I can see Minotaur damaging the front wedge of Hypershock. I can see it getting the wheels of Hypershock. But the thing is, I can also see Hypershock's wedge is quite narrow at the front, so it's perfect for getting underneath the ground clearance of Minotaur and hitting it on the sides. And we've seen, thanks to its fights against Bite Force and other verts, that Minotaur's sides are quite weak and pretty much its weakest point.
Yeah.
So there's that as well. So basically, either robot could win this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, flipping day off. All right, okay.
Right, so the way I see this,
Yeah, you usually bring up better points than me, so go ahead. Go on.
the back end of Hypershock is, I would call it quite flimsy personally.
Yes.
It does not look well armoured in the slightest. I would like to be proven wrong on that point because I think it's a marvellous machine.
It is.
Minotaur is the ultimate wheel magnet, so I can
True.
see them gunning for the wheels, but it's just a question of how well attached are the wheels. They looked pretty well attached. Even when Valkyrie caught them, they stayed on. They tore, but they stayed on. Whether a vert like Minotaur would be able to do that. The other interesting thing to note is that I don't think Minotaur would be able to turn Hypershock over.
No.
Because if you're hitting a wheel that can absorb the hit, it's going to absorb the hit. You're not going to move anywhere. And because the sides of Hypershock are mainly all wheel, the front of Hypershock is a wedge. The back is your only option, really. And I think it's too long, personally, to go over. It might get popped up into the air, but it's landing on its wheels again, I think.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Whereas, as you said, Minotaur is very exposed at the sides and at the back. To the point where they needed to add some HDPE wheels, I'm using air quotes there, casters really, to keep them balanced at all in the 2018 series, or season, sorry. Personally, I see this going Hypershock's way.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. Because the problem is they're also both really good drivers, which is really unhelpful.
Yeah. I think
But-
Hypershock has the speed on Minotaur.
Yeah, not only does Hypershock have the speed, it also has the balance. Minotaur quite often, when turning around, nearly throws itself over,
Yeah.
which isn't useful.
No.
And if we go back a little bit to 2016, I know it was a while ago. I know, yeah, okay, I'm happy to admit that. But if we go back a bit towards 2016, back to when Bombshell went against Minotaur, which had a very similar vert spin up to what Hypershock now has. You know, the vert embedded in the wedge. Minotaur was just throwing itself all over the place, and Bombshell was easily able to exploit it.
Yeah.
I've literally just remembered that off the top of my head, and with that in mind, I would also go for Aftershock, because I was going more Minotaur.
Yeah,
But
when I first saw this fight, I thought Minotaur had it, but yeah, I'd
just
completely
remembering
forgotten
that backwards,
fought Bombshell.
which basically has the same sort of vert as Hypershock does now. So
I forgot
with
Bombshell
that-
was competent at any point. If I'm honest.
So with that in mind, added with the fact that it also likes to throw itself around a bit, and Hypershock's ridiculous speed, and Will Bales, whilst I do think Minotaur's driver is a fantastic driver, I do think that Will Bales is that little tiny bit better.
I mean, he was best driver in the 2016 season.
Yes. So with that all in mind, Hypershock.
Well, there we are.
Well, there we go. So what was a difficult battle wasn't in the end.
No.
To be honest, I could potentially see it going to the judges though. I don't know if the Hypershock would fully KO it, but if we were to go judges, I mean, think about it. Bringing the fight to your opponent, Hypershock will probably do that most because of the speed.
Yeah.
Damage, I'm
Control.
seeing Hypershock getting more important hits in. And control, well, like I said, Minotaur just throws itself all over the place. Meanwhile, Will Bowers is an exceptionally good driver, and despite the speed of Hypershock, he can still keep it under control. So, with those three factors in mind, I think that it would also win all three criteria, personally.
Yeah. I'm confused. Wan Hu meme here. I'm extremely confused and don't know what happened. But Hypershock go through, and
Woohoo!
I have already sorted them for later on, and we will get to that. In the meantime, Redemption B, Anderson.
Yep, so that is an interesting fight, actually. Because it's not. Neither of these roles are spinners, which is nice to see. We have Spectre, who came second from Melee 1, versus Terrorhurtz, who came third in Melee 2. Jevon, pick a house robot.
Ooh, shall we have Sakillalot?
Yeah, throw him in there, and we'll have Shunt in there. Go on, he's been. We haven't seen him since the first fight, so we'll throw him in there.
Yeah,
Now,
the anti-spinner setup robot in the non-spinner fight.
yes. Now, it's your turn to really discuss this one, but I'm pretty certain I know who you're going to pick. But just we'll humour the idea of going the other way. So, go on, what do you think?
Well, this may be closer than you think.
Okay, I'm waiting for my jaw to drop.
The shape of Terrorhurtz,
Uh-huh.
it's quite tall, really, and I don't know whether Spectre has a wide enough jaw to bite a hold. It's an interesting.
Yeah, you have got a point there. Actually,
It is a really interesting matchup because it is such a steep wedge on not suspension. I'm looking at the picture again, and suspension is still written there. Terrorhurtz. That it. I don't know. I genuinely don't know in this one. I think Spectre would probably change tactics and try and go for a side because
yeah,
they
but even then, it's
try
tall
and grab a hold of a wheel because Terrorhurtz does have holes in the HDPE for the wheels.
True.
Not HDPE, whatever it is.
Whatever it is, yeah, that see-through stuff.
Yeah, it's all plastic when all's said and done.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to bring up was that Spectre in King of Bots Series 2, they suffered a loss because they lost their crusher at one point in the fight. I think the not pneumatics, what's the word? Hydraulics. Broke. And they could not self-right because the head couldn't move the robot into the angle where the self-righter could work.
Oh.
And Terrorhurtz being an axe can get right into where their cylinder is and possibly do some damage there. I don't know.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it is Spectre.
Yeah, see, I was actually going more towards Spectre because, but the more I thought about it, the more stupid I actually feel. Because obviously there was Razor vs. Terrorhurtz in Series 6, but that was a long time ago. Spectre, whilst it is obviously, inspired, I guess you could say, by Razor, it is its own machine in its own right. And like you said, Terrorhurtz has been changed a lot since those days and is a lot taller now.
Yeah, it was big flat box.
Yeah, but now it's tall and it's also got very slanted sides and wedges, so it could potentially not get a hold of it properly, might not fit in the jaw. And the more I think about it, actually, it does kind of almost remind me of a sort of rematch between Warhead and Blacksmith from that International Special episode, with the hammer going backwards and forwards, and hitting the head.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's a potential for that axe to do damage to the hydraulics of Spectre. And I don't think a KO will happen.
No.
I doubt a KO will happen. This of all the matches so far, this is the one to me that will go to the judges so far.
Yeah. There is a way I can see Spectre doing some really decent damage on Terrorhurtz. I'm looking at Terrorhurtz in much detail. I've blown it up in a big size. Spectre is incredibly well driven. It is incredibly fast, and if they can they could potentially, and we know that John Reed can expose his rear sometimes. The rear of Terrorhurtz is less protected than the front of it.
Yeah, so get a good nice clamp down on that like rear tail thing.
And if needs be, they could get rid of that clear plastic stuff and then get into the internal gubbins.
Yeah. This is a tough one.
Shall we break it down as a judge's decision?
I think we should, because in all honesty, I can't see a KO happening in this one.
No.
So we'll go control, damage, and aggression. So control.
I think Spectre.
Yeah, I do too. It's quicker, it's more agile. I do like Terrorhurtz, but something we have noticed in Robot Wars, it did fail to get a lot of hits in sometimes.
Yeah.
It was difficult. It was finding it hard to catch up and get those hits in. If you keep missing hits, that's bad control. So I think that's fair to say. Damage.
I think. I don't know. It's one of those moments where if it got the cylinder Terrorhurtz, it would be an incredible snipe shot, but it is sort of 1 in a million.
Thing is, this could go either way, because like you said, Spectre can get around the side, get to the wheels, go around the back and crush the back, etc., which is definitely something it can do. But Terrorhurtz, because the thing with Spectre is, it's a gorgeous robot, but that doesn't work in its favour, because a gorgeous robot looks beautiful, but when you got an axe whacking into the head, for example, bends will start to show, dinks will start to show, slices will start to show.
Yeah.
So, with that in mind, I mean, it could go either way on damage, really.
Well, should we split the damage points then?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
A point each way.
A point each way. So Spectre's currently on 2 points.
Yeah.
And Terrorhurtz on 1.
And then it's just aggression. And for me, Spectre comes across as a more aggressive machine than Terrorhurtz.
Yes. Terrorhurtz is an aggressive machine. It will always go to try and bring the fight to its opponent. But because Spectre's quicker and more agile and a bit better driven, I think it'll be chasing Terrorhurtz around quite a bit.
Yeah.
And that adds more in its favour to aggression. So I think, so it's looking like we're going for Spectre then.
There we are then.
So that's a bit of a shame for Terrorhurtz, but I'll be honest, of the 6 in this heat, it was probably the weakest.
It was a little bit outclassed, and that is a shame.
Yeah. Oh well. Anyway, moving on. So
now I'm not sure which way I want to do this.
Yeah, because annoyingly, the 2 robots from the first melee won their redemption rounds.
On the one hand, we could have a rematch later on. But on the other hand, let's go with that. So, in semi-final 1, we have Aftershock and Spectre.
Oof.
Do Spectre's plans change at all?
Well, first of all, house robot for me is Matilda.
Oh, I was going to go for Matilda.
Ooh. We'll have 2 Matildas.
I'll go Circular Lot again.
Okie dokie. Right, yes. Do they change their tactics? The problem is, with the robot like Aftershock, there's only one tactic they can really have. That's get round to the sides and try and crumple into it.
Yeah.
If they go, they could probably try and get into the back, but it's very slanted at the back, and they risk accidentally putting their teeth into the back of the disc, which will still take them off, as far as I'm concerned.
I don't think they would care, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
They seem to just go for the weapon. In the death roll fight. This is a point. Hang on. In the death roll fight, they went straight in, bit beside the weapon, and took out one of the weapon belts.
They did.
Now,
do we do that against Aftershock though?
Aftershock also has 2 weapon belts. I think they probably would.
Yes.
Is this the death roll fight again?
Yeah, it might be at this rate. Oh.
I think the difference is they reworked the wheel pods on the wheels on Spectre and how they're protected since BattleBots. It was a quick turnaround, but they did rework it before they went to China. They reworked it a lot before they went to China, if I'm honest.
Oh, this is horrible.
Okay, who has the lower ground clearance?
At the front, oh, see, that's the problem. That's tough because they never fought each other, so we don't really know.
I would say it's Spectre, personally, because Spectre has a hinged front wedge,
Ah, yes, that is a good
whereas
point, actually.
Aftershock doesn't.
It sort of glides across the floor,
Yeah,
so you could definitely get underneath the front of it.
and then it would probably try and bite in at the weapon belt, probably taking its teeth out.
Yeah, but then it will try and go around the sides and maybe use it, maybe grab a hold of Aftershock and control it, perhaps.
Yeah,
And don't forget, this arena has got four flipper, spikes, pit, CPZs, all in its favour. So it's like basically like a playground for it to sort of take it to where it wants to, sort of thing. But Aftershock, all it really needs to do is get 3 or 4 big hits, and Spectre could be done.
I don't know.
That's the issue.
They seem a lot more resilient to Verts. After saying that they don't do well against Verts, they are more resilient these days. But they still don't like them.
No. Well, to be honest, no one facing a Vert likes it because
Well, this is true. Except for the team that brought us Hello There,
Yes.
because they are clearly batty.
Yes. They're mad.
We love you, Spinnerproof.
Yes, we do. Hello There's awesome. Oh, Lord. For crying out loud.
Does this go to the judges?
I don't know.
See, I think from what we've said, Aftershock's losing at least one weapon belt.
Yeah.
And then it is being pierced and driven about a bit. We've said this.
Yeah.
Now, it just depends where they pierce, how much damage are they doing when they go through.
True. And again, you look at aggression and control. Control, especially, I think, is Spectres, because Aftershock, problem with Verts, they are a little bit hard to control.
Yeah.
So even if it goes to the judges, I'm saying Spectre. It's just whether or not Aftershock can kill it or not. But I'm not too sure, because like you said, Aftershock's more of a shed build than a big budget. Nothing wrong with the shed build. It's a very effective shed build. It's a very good shed build. It's one of my favourite shed builds. In fact, I kind of prefer shed builds because it's more in the spirit of the sport. But that's just me.
Yeah.
I like the idea of the fact that anyone can enter, not big firms and big companies with like £1 million going into their machine can enter. But that's just me personally.
This is why I quite like Monsoon, because it's a BattleBots competitor that is funded because it has companies behind it, but it is still a shed build. You see them building it in a garage or shed or whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
But, yeah, they went out ages ago, so you know.
Yes. Sorry, Tom.
Yes.
If he's watching.
I think I am leaning Spectre.
I'm leaning more towards Spectre as well, I guess. Yeah.
Are we in agreement?
Yeah, go on. We'll agree with this one.
Cool.
Otherwise we'll probably be here for like 3 years, and I can't.
It's just us making random noises, sort of.
Yeah. Okay, so with that being said, Aftershock goes in. No, not Aftershock, you idiot. Oh no, yeah, it is Aftershock. Sorry, goes into the redemption round again, for a place in that 10-way. Oh god, we've got to do that, haven't we, next time?
Yep.
And Spectre goes through to the finale to face either of the next two machines. When I see what you've done here,
rematch, let's go.
Flight Force versus Hypershock.
Right, I have things to say about this.
Okay, but first let's pick some house robots, shall we?
Oh, but I want to say things.
Dead Metal and Shunt. There you go. There's the things. I'm saying things.
Why do I suddenly not have space for these?
Because it's funny.
Do we not usually put two house robots in the... No, we don't.
Oh.
We don't usually have two house robots in the redemption rounds. Never mind, eh?
Never mind, I don't care.
Who knows what this format is? Look, it's the last heat. Just let us get through it.
Yeah, please. Our brains are hurting. There's been too much going on lately.
So who are we having, sorry?
Oh, for the love of goodness me. I can't remember what I said now. Dead Metal and Shunt, I think. There we go. That was it.
Right. Things to say. BattleBots 2018 saw Bite Force fight Hypershock for the second time.
2019.
2018.
Oh, yes, sorry, yes. And it got gutted.
Wait, hang on. No.
2019.
2018 was the first time.
2018 was the first time when it got absolutely gutted.
Yeah.
In like
Now,
2 hits.
In fairness, that version of Hypershock we shouldn't ever talk about.
No.
Apart from how yellow it was.
Yes.
So, I go more by the 2019 version, and that was a closer fight.
Yes.
In my opinion, if Hypershock had have left Bite Force alone, I feel Bite Force would have been counted out.
Yes.
As it was... Sorry, carry on.
I agree, because they kept trying to hit it, and that meant that it was able to move around a bit more, and it didn't count because it all has to be left alone for a certain amount of time to be considered a mobile, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's a 10-second checking, 10-second count out, so 20 seconds total.
Mm-hmm.
What's also worth noting is that they went in for attacks and got damage from them, which happened a lot to Hypershock last year.
Yeah.
Now, in this scenario, because it is this version of Hypershock, are we going to say that they are just going to do the same thing?
Yeah, that's the point. Again, the problem is there's also other points that we say in this arena as well.
Well, there is that.
Because we're in a Robot Wars arena here, and we've got CPZs, so...
I think Hypershock is too fast for Arena Hazards and CPZs, if I'm honest.
Oh, yeah, but if Hypershock had Bite Force in a predicament like it had it in BattleBots, would it try and push them into the CPZ? Would it go for the Doom Dial and see if it can get the pit?
This is true. I think they probably would push it into a CPZ.
Yeah, or, even go for Rogue House Robot and then just move out the way and let them take on a half-dead Bite Force.
I think any way that they go for the Doom Dial, they're going to benefit from it, except for if they accidentally drive in the pit.
Yes, which is a possibility.
It is, but Will Bales is a good driver.
But he is a very good driver, like I said, and he's always in control of his robot, so that, again, would be very unlikely. But it is a possibility that we can't deny.
Is it a possibility that he could just, RA to it and just fly over the pit?
I don't know. Will, if you're listening, ship your robot to the UK. If the arena's still there, please try that, because I really want to see it.
I can just see it driving up the sort of rampy bit of the arena sidewall and flying over the Lexan now.
He just goes at the floor flip at just the right point, and he goes...
Yeah, he probably would, though. The whole robot would probably go through the first layer of polycarb. Oh my god!
See, this is why we need BattleBots robots in the Robot Wars arena.
Yes.
It would be glorious, and I want to see Robot Wars robots in the BattleBots arena.
So,
I like to see collabs, people.
Are we saying then that Hypershock loses because it flies through the first layer of Lexan?
Yes! Now, in all honesty, I can't believe I'm saying it, I can kind of see Bite Force losing this one.
Hypershock is one of very few robots I think has a chance of killing Bite Force eventually.
It was, apart from Yeti, I think this was the closest the robot came to beating it.
In the 2019 season?
In the 2019 season, yeah. With the exception, maybe, of Witch Doctor, because that took quite a few waves.
That was a close fight.
That was close. They were so close in that one little hit out of nowhere. You're like, oh, you're joking. I can't believe it.
Absolutely gutted by that, but never mind.
But it was definitely, of all the robots Bite Force fought that season, this was one of the ones that gave it the real beans, the real toughness. And correct me if I'm wrong, didn't this one go to the judges?
It did go to the judges, and Hypershock lost on damage.
Yeah, simply because it kept driving into the spinner.
Yeah.
And like I said, with the addition of the house robots, a half-dead Bite Force would struggle in the CPZ.
Yeah.
It wouldn't, I don't think it would take too much serious damage, but it would be in trouble.
Yeah.
And then they'd pounce on it for a couple of seconds, do a bit of damage to it, and then they'd sort of leave it, and then it would be classed as immobile, I think, by the judges, perhaps.
It depends how
I
much
think
damage there
the
was.
Robot Wars arena definitely benefits Hypershock more than it does Bite Force as well.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm actually going Hypershock.
We finally defeated Bite Force!
Yay!
You heard it here first, guys. Bite Force has its first loss in God knows how long.
Did you hear that? That is the sound of 1,000 keyboards. Well, no, not that many. We don't have that many people watching, but a few keyboards thundering in, telling us how stupid and gay we are for that for that prediction.
We're only gay because we're so happy that we killed it.
Yes.
Aha, words. Right. So then, Hypershock moved through to the Heat final. How? And Bite Force is in the third place playoff where they are going to be facing Aftershock. Now, I know for a fact the pupil wanted to see this fight.
Yes. You know what else I know for a fact? And it really pains me to say it, but I can't see Aftershock winning this one.
Well, before we jump the gun, which house robot shall we have?
Well, I'm going to pick Sekilot.
Oh, I was going to pick Sakila.
For crying out loud!
I will pick Shunt.
Okie dokie. Right, back to where I was.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't see Aftershock winning this one.
Oh, how?
What?
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, jolly. No, I mean, I love Aftershock, but I
Does
mean,
Aftershock have more reach?
Yes, but I think Bite Force's wedgelets are lower because obviously they're hinged.
Yeah.
And the way I look at it is, I think as much as I love Aftershock, I think Witch Doctor is a more competent vert, and that didn't do it. And I think.
Hear me out here.
Okay.
I'm going to propose something, and do feel free at the end of it to tell me I'm an idiot, and we'll go with Bite Force.
Okay.
But, so, the panel that covers the weapon pulley is made of plastic.
Right.
Aftershock having more reach, even if it went up the wedgelets, if it got it right, it could take that off very easily.
It could.
If it got up there again, I can see them taking out Bite Force's weapon.
Now, that is a possibility. But if they were to go at the wedge, I see Bite Force's spinner hitting Aftershock's front wedge first.
Maybe.
That's by more reach. I mean when they're both level on the floor.
Right.
If Bite Force was to get underneath it, then they would hit the Aftershock's wedge before Aftershock's spinner hit them. That's what I mean, by more reach. Like, so say they were flat and had no wedges and they were driving blade versus blade, Aftershocks would stick out more.
Yeah.
But going up an actual ramp, I think with a spinner in it, I think the spinner would hit their wedge first.
It's also worth noting, I forgot completely, Aftershock gets tilted backwards quite a lot, even the slightest incline can put it on its back and it then has to self-right, and I don't think Bite Force would let them have the opportunity. They'd just be all over them.
Yeah, and there's also the fact that, there's that. So say they knock them over, Aftershock would then try and hit itself back, but would probably just bounce itself base first onto the spinner of Bite Force, and that's no fun. Also, I know they're not exactly the same, but Uppercut is a sort of similar to Aftershock in that it's a bit of an unbalanced vert spinner.
Yeah.
And that didn't last 3 seconds. So.
No, I think that's fair. I think we've wailed on Bite Force enough for this episode to allow them this.
We can't have too many upsets, Jevon.
No. I live for the upset, though, Anderson. I need it.
So we're in agreement that Bite Force is going into the 10-way, which is something I didn't think I'd be saying in this, to be honest, but there we go.
Yeah, no, me neither. I had them to win the heat, if I'm honest, but that didn't happen.
No.
And so Bite Force go into the 10-way. Aftershock, unlucky 4th place in this heat, but them's the breaks, I guess. Heat final.
Heat final time. Who are the house robots?
Who are the house robots? Shall we have Dead Metal for me?
Yeah, and Growler.
Cool.
No. I have no idea. You said they're metal, didn't you?
Yeah, we haven't had children in a while.
Yeah, we'll say Matilda.
Oh,
Actually, but before we go, I just want to quickly state I'm not going to say who told me it because I don't know they want me to say it. But I heard a bit of a not. I don't want to say conspiracy theory because it's not. But somebody said that they wouldn't be surprised because obviously we all know that the guys who made Spectre made the House Robots or Robot Wars.
yeah.
They wouldn't be surprised if they actually had a design for a new Growler. And then because Robot Wars got cancelled and they went to the King of Bots, they decided, well, why don't we just take that design we would have had for Growler, tweak it a little bit so it's a heavyweight and not a super heavyweight, and then enter it as a competitor.
Oh, I heard that somewhere.
Yeah, I actually think I mean, the thing is, it doesn't really look like a dog, but again, they've tweaked it, so.
Yeah.
But it is a potential thing. I mean, imagine Spectre but at the same size as Dead Metal. That would be an amazing house robot.
Oh my god, could you imagine?
That would be immense. Yeah, and that's one thing that's never been done because we've had Growler, but that was like sort of like grabbing jaws. We've never had a full-on crushing beak house robot, so that would be something interesting. Unless of course you count Nail from my series. Little bit of a cheeky plug there. Oh dear, even though it's crap. Right,
keep your cheeky plugs away, please, Anderson.
Oh, I do apologise.
We're a family show.
Yeah, hey.
Well, not,
well, no, we're not. No, that went out the window the minute you invited me on to be a host. I mean, this is me being PG friendly for crying out loud. Imagine me when I'm naughty. You can find out how naughty I actually am on my actual channel. So, where
that was going.
Where the hell were we?
I've just woken up from
Spectre
some sort of coma.
Hypershock. Spectre versus Hypershock.
Yeah. Spectre wins.
Yeah, I agree. There we go. Right, thanks, guys. See you next time. Bye. Yeah, to be honest.
In fairness, Hypershock probably get like a good hit on it.
And that's your lot.
Yeah.
Hypershock's got the exposed wheels and the exposed top and the exposed rear. And whilst Will's a good driver and whilst it's very quick, Spectre will easily exploit all of them. Also, because its wedges hinged, I think, like you said, it would be lower to the ground.
Yeah.
Probably even. I mean, it'd be risky, but they could even try and get the weapon belt. I don't think they would, but it'd be a bit. They
probably would try and bite the weapon. That seems to be a tactic for them versus Verts, if I'm honest.
Yeah, they haven't quite realised that they lose their teeth doing that, have they yet? Bless them.
No. Well, actually, in the Death Roll fight, they bent their teeth. They didn't lose them.
Yeah.
So, as Quantum, that is. I would love to see Quantum versus Hypershock in the next season.
That would be glorious. But honestly, for me, it's Spectre. There's no two ways about this. For me, it's Spectre.
I completely agree. I adore both of these machines, if I'm honest.
I like both of them as well. I think they're both really good robots. They look good. They are good. They're well driven.
They are always entertaining. It doesn't matter who they're fighting. Always entertaining.
Yep.
And that is commendable enough as it is. But Spectre takes the final heat, and good Lord Anderson, we have ourselves a final on our hand. But before we do, oh God,
a 10-way. Can I be excused from that episode?
No. Shall we do a run through of who is in the 10-way?
Yeah, we'll do a run through of who's in the 10-way, and then we'll go over the 5 grand finalists.
That sounds like a lovely plan.
Just as a reminder. So, you've got it all in front of you. I honestly can't remember what we've picked already, so you read that list out. Go on.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find it. Hang on.
And I'll act like I'm not surprised. You don't know either shit.
It's been so long. Right, in the 10-way rumble, we have the following robots. From Heat A, Tanshay and Duck.
Oh my lord, that's already an interesting start.
From Heat B, Ripper and Huge. From Heat C, we have Monsoon and Greedy Snake.
Wow!
From Heat D, we have TR3 and Free Shipping. And now, from Heat E, we have Bite Force and Hypershock.
See, what I like about that is we have got a lot of interest. We've got lots of different robots there, lots of different designs. and I have no clue who's going to win that at all. I haven't got the foggiest. I mean, Bite Force seems like the safe answer, but in what we're against, but we've only ever seen it in one-on-ones.
Yeah.
Imagine it with 10 other robots, sorry, with 9 other robots to have to face off against.
God, it's going to be brutal.
That's going to be pure chaos. Why did we do this? Why did we do? I'm out. I'm gone. I'm going. Bye. See you. Thanks everyone. See you later. No, I'm not really going to go. No, I'm coming back.
That was a half commitment there from Anderson.
It was a hard. I mean, I realised it was the door's 10 steps away. I'm just too lazy to do that.
Oh, God, effort. Shall we run down who is a finalist already?
Yes.
Punched their ticket. So in Heat A, we had Scorpios to win the heat.
Yep.
Which I forgot.
Yeah, I genuinely forgot that as well.
So that's a BattleBots robot there. In Heat B, we had Magnetar, a Robot Wars robot.
Yep.
In Heat C, we had Toxic 2, a Robots Live robot.
Yep.
In Heat D, we had Valkyrie.
A BattleBots robot.
Yeah, so that's 2 BattleBots robots. Unlucky extreme robots in this series, I guess. And in Heat E, we have a King of Bots robot. So yeah, extreme robots is the only thing that isn't represented in the final at this point in time.
We've got, is any of those robots an extreme robots robot in the 10-way?
No. Oh yeah, loads of them.
Yes, thought so.
Technically Monsoon, I guess, but no.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's known as Tauron 3, but okay, yeah.
Well, no, they've actually been fighting as Monsoon at the live event.
Oh, have
recently.
they?
Yeah, they went to, I believe, Maidstone and Cheltenham as Monsoon.
Oh, fair enough.
And they got special permission.
It's a better name in my opinion, even though it's less British.
So, if you want actual Extreme Robots competitors who we have labelled as Extreme Robots competitors, we have 2. We have TR3,
yes,
and we have Ripper.
Okie dokie. So, if either of those 2 wins it, we've basically got a full circle in there because that's all of them. That's all the competitions, isn't it? Because there's 5.
Now watch in the next heat as we are completely biased towards them.
Yes.
No, we will judge it fairly. It is fairly ridiculous.
It's fucking bonkers. Sorry. How are we gonna do it? I don't know. Oh, man, I'm gonna need at least 4 cups of coffee doing that, aren't I? Jesus Christ!
Yeah, I'm going to take several shots of heroin beforehand.
Yeah.
Kids, I don't do drugs. Don't report me.
Yeah, I do. But
fair enough. It helps to ease the pain. Yeah. Put in the comments or in the chat or whatever who you think is going to win the 10 Robot Rumble, because God knows we don't know.
Yeah, and we won't use that.
No, we won't. I will look through them and go, okay, moving on.
Yes.
Brill. Anderson.
Interesting, actually. We could actually discuss that in the next video, actually.
What? People's opinions?
See what the people think. Yeah, see what the people think.
Ooh. Yeah, let's do it.
Make them feel invested, you know.
Yeah, so
I mean, they've had to deal with crap over the last few months. They may as well feel invested in it as well.
Put in the comments then who you think is going to win the 10 Robot Rumble, and we will go through that before we go through the 10 Robot Rumble. Or should we go through it after? We'll do it at some point in the next episode, I guess. Cool. Anderson, now is the time to retrieve your shameless plugs from the bottom drawer next to your bed. And you've got news, haven't you?
I do have news, which is not for this podcast. It's for the news channel. So see you later. But no,
I am the news channel.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I meant the news videos, but I said channel because I'm retarded. So those of you who don't know, the reason why my channel's been very inactive lately is because my computer actually full on broke. It stopped messing around and just completely broke on me. And unfortunately, I had to go back to use my old computer, but I'd removed my editing software off of it. And unfortunately, the disk reader thingamajigger had broke on it, so I couldn't reinstall my editing software onto that one. So it left me in a bit of a kerfuffle, and I needed a new computer. But good news, I officially have a new computer. I'm not going to read out all the specs because I can't be bothered and I forgot them all. But It's a beast. It is a beast. I know it's got a 2 terabyte hard drive and it is an official gaming PC. It's much quicker than my old computer. Everything works gloriously. My editing software is on here. I've got everything all sorted. I saved all my old files and all my old videos. So yes, I will. Hopefully, starting tomorrow. This is Thursday. We're filming this, so Friday the 31st of January, I will hopefully be starting to edit everything I need to edit again, and I'm hoping by March to be uploading Series 3 of Rebirth. So fingers crossed.
Ooh.
And I'm also hoping to get back into Robot Wars Guru again because it's been a long time since I did one of them. I think it's been what 6 months, 7 months since I did one of them. So. Yeah, it'll be nice to be able to get back into the swing of things again. I've been finding myself very bored lately, so that'll fill the void hopefully.
Yeah, you certainly won't be bored any longer.
No.
And on a personal note, this has all been recorded and done hopefully on my new laptop. I got a new laptop as well because my old one it was just faulty and.
It was rubbish.
It wasn't as dead as Anderson's, but it is like 3-4 years old now. So it was time for a replacement. I too got a gaming laptop, but hopefully that means the processing is great on it. I am waiting on a personal hard drive so that I can transfer all the videos onto that, and then I will officially start editing Grand Slam 2. I actually started looking at it yesterday, but I shall get into editing it as soon as possible. So, 2 fan-made Robot Wars series on their way. Can you Adam and Eve it?
It would be quite cool if we started uploading them around the same time, but I don't know. We'll see. We don't want to rush it. We said we thought about racing each other, but we don't want to rush it. We want to sit down, take our time, and make it worth your wait. Because you've been waiting a long time for both of these. I mean, I uploaded Rebirth 2. That finished uploading well over a year ago. Grand Slam, well over 2 years ago now, I think. No, hang on, when did it? Oh, I don't know. I can't remember personally.
There was no series last year on your channel.
Yeah, it was the year before, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And
same here, really. Other than the occasional special, which is true for both of us, really.
Yeah, and again, same for you. I mean, yeah, because last year you didn't upload your series, did you, at all? It was just yours.
I had to wait until the summer to record mine again, and then life got in the way.
Yeah, but we are going to plough on through it. We are going to make it worth your wait. Yes, it might take a little bit longer because we are trying to take our times with it, but we want the product to be good. We don't want to rush it and then it just look like a bodge job. We want to do it properly.
Yeah. One final thing I wish to promote is both myself and Anderson are admins on a new Facebook group, which is for fan-made Robot Wars. So this will be there. This episode will be posted there as well. But also any news or anything on our series or anybody else's series, we want you guys to get involved because it is a space for you guys. If you are a fan of fan-made Robot Wars, if you do fan-made Robot Wars, get involved. Go and share and love and support and do everything. We all really want to hear from what you guys do. So get on up on your Facebook game and join us over on fan-made Robot Wars.
And it's not just family Robot Wars like what we do. There is, so for example, RA2 series are also considered eligible for there. RC series are considered eligible for it as well.
Yep.
So I don't think you have to, have hands in the way. I don't think you have to be a bunch of overgrown kids playing with toys to do it. You can do otherwise as well, so don't worry.
Cool. And
just not stop motion. Anyway.
And don't wear green gloves. With all that said, that's an ongoing joke. With all that said, thank you, Anderson, for joining me once again.
Oh, thank you for having me on. It's been an absolute pleasure as usual.
And thank you all for listening, if indeed you still are. We will see you next time for the 10 Robot Rumble. God help us, we didn't deserve this. Bye!
Ta-da!